Well, recently I'm starting to jump into topics and talk about certain things that normally I would just stay clear of because I'm not really about the drama. And I don't like getting into these back and forths with people about, you know, what they think is right, what I think is right, and, I don't know, the social issues or the underlying social issues, racial issues, nationalistic issues that seem to be surrounded by this sport of boxing, particularly on the YTBC. And I'm not one to really get involved in that. But I just have to comment on a lot of this craziness that I'm hearing, this misinformation that I'm hearing. Now, let's just take away, you know, your stance or my stance or everyone's stance on the use of PEDs in boxing and professional sports as a whole, because I've said it once and I'll say it again. I suspect everyone, and just because people are passing tests, it doesn't mean that they're not using banned substances. And I've also said that this banned substance list is going to continue to grow and grow as time goes on. And before you know it, maybe I'm sounding a little bit crazy here, and maybe I'm being a little outlandish, but before you know it, pretty soon stuff like creatine is going to be banned on it. Stuff like tribulus testes, a lot of these diuretics, these fat burners, these hydroxy cuts, these Rev XPs, a lot of these fat burners, a lot of these stuff that you can buy at your local GNC or vitamin shop. Pretty soon, a lot of that stuff is going to be on this list, I suspect, because there is stuff that you can buy that has PED-like results or effects if you take certain products. But that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is that there are rules in place, and the rules are known, and fighters are made aware of these rules. So if one fighter is going to follow a specific rule, then the other fighter who is involved in an event with that fighter has to follow that same rule. That's just fairness. That's just an even level playing field. Now, let's get to the fact of the matter here. Alexander Povetkin tested positive for Meldonium as a result of a positive test that was taken on April 27th. Now, his team is claiming that this drug that was banned in January of this year, they took it back in September of last year, and that was the last time that Povetkin had taken the drug. And there were only trace amounts left in his system. But let's look at the total story here. VADA conducted tests on April 7th, April 8th, and April 11th. And Povetkin passed all those tests. So if his story is true, then wouldn't he have come up positive in one of those previous tests? So something is fishy here. You tell one lie, and then you know how this old story goes. You're going to have to tell another lie and another lie and another lie just to cover up the previous lie. So there's really no way that they can put a positive spin on this. And then you could say, well, maybe he didn't know that this drug was illegal or was on the banned substance list. But you know what? I'm pretty sure, and I suspect very strongly, and I can't say this factually, but I suspect very strongly that before the VADA testing begins, I believe both camps are given a list of banned substances that they're not supposed to take. And it's their responsibility to look at that list and go down that list and make sure that they're not taking anything that's on that list, number one. And number two, Meldonium is not something that you would just normally say, hey, I'm going to go to my pharmacist, or I'm going to go to, You can't just pick it up at a GNC or a vitamin shop, or you just can't go to your Walgreens or your CVS and say, hey, I need some Meldonium. I mean, there's got to be a medical reason for you to get that drug. And it's used for coronary artery disease. And Maria Sharapova, who took it, actually was given a prescription by her doctor to take it because she had a medical reason to take the drug. Now, people are saying, well, why can't Alexander Povetkin just get a therapeutic use exemption? Well, if that was the case, then he would have to provide medical documents from a doctor saying that he needs to take this for some medical condition, some medical reason, which he has not done. And it was not provided to VADA or to the people who are in charge and who are upholding the testing protocol for this fight. So no one was made aware of any reason for Povetkin to need a therapeutic use exemption. So whether or not we know for sure if this drug provides any type of enhancement, there has to be some reason why he took the drug, number one. And number two, there has to be some reason why he didn't let anyone know. He didn't let VADA know. He didn't let Wilder's camp know. No one knew he was taking this drug except for him and his team, or maybe just him himself, but I suspect people in his camp knew he was taking this drug as well. So unless they can come up with the reason why he was taking this drug, and unless they can come up with a reason why he passed 3 previous tests before failing the subsequent 4th test, then something is off here. I mean, it's like anything else in life. There are rules. Whether or not we agree with the rules, it doesn't excuse us for being punished if we break the rules. So regardless of my stance on PEDs, and just because I think many athletes are taking them, but not everyone's getting caught, so it really doesn't matter. Even if you think there already is a level playing field because everyone's taking them, so it's just basically cancels each other out when someone takes the drug and gets popped for it. Just because you're assuming someone else is already taking it, but they didn't get caught, that's just no excuse for if you get caught, then you get caught. You can't get pulled over for a speeding ticket because you went 3 miles over the speed limit and say, hey, you know what, I only went 3 miles over the speed limit. And how many times do you still get that ticket? And can you say to that cop, well, everyone else is speeding, but you only caught me? That's not going to fly. I mean, when you get caught, you got to pay the repercussions for getting caught. So it is what it is. So whether I believe that many people are taking PEDs regardless at this top level, whether I agree, what drugs do what and how certain effects happen from certain drugs, whether or not I believe, clenbuterol is really an effective weight loss aid and if it really works or not, if it's on the banned substance list, fighters are aware that it's on the banned substance list and they know they should not be taking the drug or they're going to get popped or they run the risk of getting popped. And they're going to have to deal with the repercussions of the test. So this has nothing to do about race, has nothing to do about nationalism. This is about the rules, and this is about the sport of boxing and what the WBC chose to do by bringing VADA along board in their testing protocol for world title fights. And both camps knew about all of these things. So both camps are responsible to follow the rules. When James Toney tested positive after his fight with John Ruiz, the fight was declared a no contest, and James Toney is a black fighter. When Lamont Peterson came up dirty, he had synthetic testosterone in his body. When he fought Amir Khan, the fight was canceled. Okay? So it is what it is. This is not a racial thing. This is about someone testing positive for a substance that is on the banned substance list. And the only way that this can get cleaned up is he's going to have to provide medical information from a doctor stating that he was allowed to take this substance. And even if this substance provides no athletic benefit, no enhancement, it doesn't matter. If it's illegal, it's illegal. Just because I don't think that it's dangerous for me to drive 70 in a 65, but I get pulled over going 70 in a 65, just because I don't agree with the law, the cop's not going to accept my reasoning for doing what I did. Hey, officer, there's no one on the road. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. How could I hurt anybody by just going 70? If he decides to pull me over because I broke the law, then I broke the law. If I think it's stupid that I have to pay taxes, so all of a sudden I just stop paying taxes because I don't feel like I'm getting the proper services for the taxes that I'm paying, I just can't say, hey, you know what? I don't think the cops are doing a good job. I don't think the teachers are doing a good job. I'm just going to stop paying taxes. No, you can't do that. So this is not about race. It's not about nationalism. It's not about singling out a certain group of people or a certain group of fighters. This is about someone broke the rules, he got popped, and he's got to deal with the repercussions of getting popped. Simple and plain. Beeb is out. Till next time, thank you for watching. As always, peace.